get you some of that.
Allow me to explain.
I'm a vertical jump trainer. I'm also a high school basketball coach. I taught my entire high school team how to dunk. I've trained pro athletes, D1 athletes, blah, 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 blah. Ooh, 3 reps, that should do it. I also do program reviews on popular vertical jump training programs, and at this point in time, I've reviewed everybody from Knees Over Toes Guy to PGF Performance to Isaiah Rivera. Oh, shit. Last Saturday, I posted a video titled, Which Plyometrics Will Help You Dunk a Basketball? Which, if you haven't watched that one first, go watch that one. The link is in the description. It'll all make sense. If you don't catch this, you're a Chihuahua. I knew you weren't a German Shepherd. And in that video, I explained every single thing that you could ever need to know about any plyometric exercise, except for the sets and the reps. So since I'm a bonehead and I forgot that, that's why today we are going over the perfect sets and reps for every single plyometric exercise known to man. Well, at least the top 40 plyos that were present in all of these vertical jump programs that I have reviewed. There you go. Go make your mother mad.
Let's get ready.
All right, here we go. The top 40 most common plyometric exercises that were seen in over 20 different vertical jump training programs from some of the best vertical jump coaches and trainers that exist today. We're using the same exact tier list as last time. I'm not moving anything around. I'm just giving you the sets and the reps for every single one of these plyometric exercises. If you want to see why I placed each exercise in each specific category that I did, as I stated earlier, go back and watch the previous video. This is a part 2. Also, just a quick disclaimer, don't be a moron and try to do all of these exercises in one single workout unless you want to be walking like I was walking when I tried to run 111 miles with absolutely no training. Here we go. We're going to start with the exercises that will cause minor adaptations, then we'll go up to good adaptations, great adaptations, and we will finish with the exercises that will cause major adaptations on your vertical jump. Starting it off with box jumps. If I ever program box jumps for beginners, I like a little bit higher volume. I like them to do 3 sets of 10 reps of box jumps. If I have an intermediate or an advanced athlete, I almost never program box jumps for them, and if I do, it is programmed with a superset. We'll do something like squats, superset with box jumps to get some contrast training, and in that case, I would do something like 5 sets of 3 reps of box jumps. For lateral bounds, I like to do 3 sets of 6 to 10 reps each leg. It really depends on what we have in the rest of the workout and what the main focus of that workout is. However, with lateral bounds, you cannot go wrong with 3 sets of 6 to 10 reps each leg. For seated box jumps, I like 5 sets of 2 to 3 reps, and I almost always superset this one with a strength exercise as well, something like a deep squat, since seated box jumps are a deeper range of motion plyometric. So I might have an athlete hit 5 sets of 3 reps of deep squats and then rest 30 to 60 seconds and superset with 5 sets of 3 reps of seated box jumps. For jumping rope, I almost never program this for my athletes just because a lot of athletes that I program online, I don't know if they have a jump rope, and we could do the same exact thing by just doing low-level extensive plyos and doing baby pogo jumps or even pogo jumps for the same exact duration, jumps, ground contacts that we would for jumping rope. But if you do want to use a jump rope and your goal is low-level extensive plyos, ankle stiffness, etc., you could do something like 3 sets of 1 to 2 minutes. I do like jumping rope as a warm-up before we get into the rest of our workout. For single leg box jumps, I normally program these for 5 sets of 2 to 3 reps each leg, and I will superset this with a strength exercise, once again contrast training, normally a unilateral exercise, so something like a rear foot elevated split squat, superset with single leg box jumps, both of them for 5 sets of 3 reps. Snap downs, I don't program these at all. However, if I did, I would program them for 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. For tuck jumps, once again, as I stated in part 1 of this plyometric tier list, I only ever program this as a regression to single leg hops. So I do tuck jumps for 3 sets of 6 reps, and then we get into forward tuck jumps, and then single leg tuck jumps, and then forward single leg tuck jumps, and then forward single leg hops. But when I do program them, it is 3 sets of 6 reps. Depth landings. Anytime that I program these, I normally program a jump after the landing as well, and I call these shock pause jumps. So we drop down, we absorb the force, and then we jump up onto another box or into the air, and I will program depth landings or shock pause jumps for 3 sets of 5 reps. You could do 5 sets of 3 reps, you could do 4 sets of 5 reps. Anywhere between 15 to 20 of these depth landings is going to be great for any single workout. Next, we have line line hops. Whenever I program line hops, I like the athlete to do these line hops as fast as they possibly can, and I don't program a set number of reps. What I like to do is I'll program 3 sets of 10 seconds as fast as they can, and I want them to count how many times they went back and forth over the line and try to beat their record every single time. I use this more as a central nervous system primer than really just any set number of sets and reps. However, for line hops, if you really just wanted some low-level extensive plyometrics, you could do 3 sets of 20, 3 sets of 50, 3 sets of 100, 3 sets of 1 minute. It really doesn't matter. If it's low-level extensive plyos, then it's going to be very similar to jumping rope. You can get a lot of ground contacts with something as low level and something as minimally intensive as line hops. Single leg line hops are going to be the exact same thing as line hops, except for me, I'll program 2 sets of single leg line hops each leg, whereas I do line hops 3 sets with both legs, and I do, once again, 2 sets each leg of 10 seconds as fast as they can, hopping over the line. But for that one, it's the exact same thing. Get crazy, go extensive. 2 to 3 sets of 50, 100, 200, 1 minute, 2 minutes. It's really not going to matter. You can go crazy when it comes to single leg line hops. Moving on to the exercises that will cause good adaptations on your vertical jump. The first exercise up is lunge jumps. And for lunge jumps, I will normally program these for 3 sets of 5 to 10 reps each leg. However, the biggest thing to look out for with something like a lunge jump is once you start to jump lower and lower and lower because of fatigue, you don't want to be going crazy doing 20, 30 reps of lunge jumps at sub-maximal effort. You really want your lunge jumps to be as maximal intent, as high intensity as they can possibly be. 3 sets of 5 reps, 3 sets of 8 reps, 3 sets of 10 is towards the upper limit. Go crazy, but make sure you're jumping as high as you possibly can. Power skips. Whenever I do these, I like to program 3 to 5 sets of 30 to 40 yards, but I want you to make sure that you get 5 max effort jumps in every set of your power skips. Once again, as I stated in the last video over and over and over, these plyometrics where you are transferring horizontal to vertical momentum are so underrated, and I need you to hear me. You have to be doing more of those. 3 to 5 sets, 30 to 40 yards, 5 max reps, 5 max jumps off of each leg. That is going to be ideal for power skips. Dumbbell box jumps, I like to program for 5 sets of 2 to 3 reps. And I really use dumbbell box jumps a lot to prime athletes to jump their highest. I like it for post-activation potentiation. I found that if you do dumbbell box jumps, sometimes my athletes even do this before a game. We'll do our 3 to 5 sets of isometrics, then we'll do some hip mobility, then we do some dumbbell box jumps, and then we go warm up and we play in our basketball game, and everybody is feeling bouncy. For pogo jumps, I like athletes to do 3 sets of 10 to 20 reps. But here's the thing with pogo jumps. It's the same thing with the lunge jumps. You want to make sure that you're jumping as high as possible. In my Indestructible Knees program, I program 3 sets of 50 reps, 50 reps of pogo jumps. But the goal is not really vertical jump. It is durability. If your goal is vertical jump and jumping as high as possible, then you want all of your pogo jumps to be as maximal as possible. And if you're doing 50 reps of pogo jumps, you are going to get a little bit fatigued, and reps 40 to 50 are not going to be as high as reps 1 through 10. So just make sure with your pogo jumps, you are jumping at maximal intensity, maximal height. 3 sets of 10 to 20 reps is perfect. For squat jumps, I like 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. You can really get some good reps, some maximal reps with squat jumps, but eventually the same thing does occur, and you don't want to be jumping with your squat jumps at half intensity or doing them fatigued. You really want to push the limit and jump as high as possible. And if you're doing 100 reps of squat jumps, those last 80 to 90 reps of squat jumps are just going to be sub-maximal effort. So 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps as high as you possibly can is going to be perfect. For explosive step-ups, I like 3 to 4 sets of 4 to 6 reps each leg. And I do like to actually pair this with a squat or a rear foot elevated split squat, a deadlift, some compound movement. I do like to pair explosive step-ups, get some contrast training. Once again, 30 to 60 seconds rest in between the strength exercise and the plyo exercise. But explosive step-ups get you some gains, 3 to 4 sets of 4 to 6 reps each leg. Moving on to approach box jumps, I like to do 3 to 5 sets of 2 to 3 reps each 2-foot approach. So you have your right-left 2-foot approach and your left-right 2-foot approach. And for this one, I normally don't program approach box jumps. I like approach vertical jumps or high object touches instead, but I will sometimes program approach box jumps. But then again, if I do, it is always paired in a contrast training set, a superset with some sort of strength exercise. For Drach box jumps, I really don't program these too much anymore. I used to program them a lot, and I would do 5 sets of 2 to 3 reps. There's no real reason why I stopped programming these. I just think there's other better exercises that you could do than Drach box jumps. However, it's a great power exercise, deep range of motion, unilateral. It will get you some good gains. 5 sets of 2 to 3 reps get you some money. Lateral bound to box jump. For this one, I like 5 single leg box jumps onto the box each leg. So you do a lateral jump, you jump up with your left leg. That's 1. You do a lateral jump, jump up with your right leg. That's also 1. Then you go back 2, 2, 3, 3, all the way until you get 5 reps each leg. Once again, this is more of a sub-maximal exercise. I'll do this to warm up, to prime the system. It's a great exercise. Go watch the last video to see what I really think about all of these exercises. Plyometric sequences. Oh goodness. For this one, I couldn't possibly tell you any optimal or perfect amount of sets and reps for plyometric sequences because these are completely random. However, I do like to add some sort of lateral component, some sort of reactive component. And as long as they're somewhat challenging, these are very fun. These are very great for a warm-up before the rest of your workout. It gets the athletes engaged, but for plyometric sequences, go crazy. Now we are moving on to the exercises that will cause great adaptations on your vertical jump. These are the real money makers. For broad jumps, what I actually like to do, I'm going to tell you guys all of my secrets. Actually, I've said it on this channel multiple times before. I used to program broad jumps for like 5 sets of 2 to 3 reps. What I've been doing recently is I'll program broad jumps for the athlete. There are no set in stone sets and reps. I'll just tell the athlete, do broad jumps until you can no longer get a personal record. This is what I call the drop-off principle. When you're doing broad jump after broad jump after broad jump, and you can get farther and farther and farther, there does come a point where you can no longer get a personal record for that day. If you do 1 jump, oh, I didn't beat my record. Then you try again, do a 2nd jump, I didn't beat my record. You do a 3rd jump, I still didn't beat my record. We're calling it quits. The set of broad jumps is over. That is what I call going to drop off. So when I program broad jumps, there are no sets and reps. There are just do broad jumps until you cannot get a farther broad jump. Dumbbell pogo jumps, I would do the same exact sets and reps as regular pogo jumps. I would do 3 sets of 10 to 20 reps. Obviously, regular pogo jumps are going to be a regression to dumbbell pogo jump. Make sure that you are ready for any of these high intensity exercises before you get into them. When I say go crazy, I do want you to go crazy, but I want you to be smart first and then go crazy. So 3 sets of 10 to 20 reps, dumbbell pogo jumps, that is going to be ideal. For depth jumps, I like athletes to do anywhere between 10 to 20 reps of depth jumps. So in a lot of these programs, you might see 5 sets of 2 or 3 sets of 5 or 4 sets of 5 or 10 sets of 1. It really doesn't matter. Anything between 10 to 20 reps of depth jumps is going to be good. Just be safe. It is a more high intensity exercise, and I will put this out here that for some athletes, not really in my online programming, but with the athletes that I train in person, I will sometimes do depth jumps until drop off. So we'll either touch a high object or dunk a basketball, and we will continue on and on and on until they can no longer touch the height of that object or until they can no longer dunk. Drop jumps is really going to be the same as depth jumps. You could do anywhere between 10 to 20 reps is going to be fine. And guys, you can get up to 30. You can do less. You can do more. What you really need to understand is that these perfect, optimal sets and reps are going to be different for every single athlete. I'm just giving you the guidelines that are going to be good guidelines to follow. If you're an advanced athlete, sure, you could go do 30 reps of depth jumps. But I do want to reiterate that when it comes to your vertical jump, doing more and more volume isn't necessarily going to increase your vertical jump more. Instead of doing tons and tons and tons of reps of plyometrics, I'd rather you focus on the intensity of those plyometrics than the volume of those plyometrics. Anyways, drop jumps, 10 to 20 reps is going to be the sweet spot. For band resisted squat jumps, I like 3 sets of 6 to 10 reps. Once again, this is one of those plyos that once you keep doing reps and reps and reps, you start to get fatigued, and we don't want to be doing fatigue jumping. We want max effort. So the sweet spot that I found is 3 sets of 6 to 10 reps of band resisted squat jump. For hurdle jumps, when I program these, I'll normally do between 3 to 4 sets of 3 to 6 reps. And if they're lower hurdle jumps, it's not going to matter too much. You could do double, triple. Low hurdle jumps are really used for a different reason: force absorption, preparing the athlete for intense reactive strength work, etc., etc. Repeated box jumps. When I do these, I like 3 sets of 10 to 20 reps depending on the height of the box. And what I do is I start with a 6-inch box, 3 sets of 20. Then once the athlete is used to that, we'll do a 12-inch box, 3 sets of 20. 18-inch box, I'll normally move it down to 3 sets of 10. 24-inch box, 3 sets of 10. Then I'll actually go back down to a 6-inch box and have the athlete do single leg repeated box jumps. And then we go 12, 18, 24, etc., etc. The higher the intensity, the lower the reps. The lower the intensity, the higher the reps. That's normally how it goes. For sled pushes and pulls, I like to do 3 to 6 sets of anywhere between 15 to 40 yards. 40 is a little bit pushing it. 30 yards is going to be ideal. 3 to 6 sets of 15 to 40 yards, with 30 yards being that sweet spot. For trap bar jumps, I don't do these too often, but if I did, I would program them for 5 sets of 2 to 3 reps. And it depends on the main focus of that workout session. There's nothing wrong with doing 10 sets of 3 reps of trap bar jumps. There's nothing wrong with doing 8 sets, 5 sets. It really just depends on how much volume you want and what the main focus of that workout is. For band assisted pogo jumps, I like 3 sets of 10 to 20 reps, and I kind of name these a little bit different. It's not going to matter because an exercise is an exercise no matter what the name is, but band assisted pogo jumps in my programming means very low level. So when I do band assisted, like in my indestructible knees program, we might be doing 3 sets of 100 reps. What I call band accelerated pogo jumps, on the other hand, trying to jump as high as you can, where you're trying to do overspeed work, trying to teach the central nervous system to fire faster than it is normally used to. That is where I go 3 sets of 10 to 20 reps. For band resisted pogo jumps, I'll do the same, 3 sets of 10 to 20 reps. Once again, band assisted, meaning the bands are assisting you, and band resisted, meaning the bands are resisting you. Crazy concept, bro. Dumbbell squat jumps. I like 3 sets of 5 to 8 reps. You can do 5 sets of 3. It's really going to depend on how heavy those dumbbells are. If you have heavier dumbbells, you might need to do something like 5 sets of 3. If you have lighter dumbbells, you might do something like 3 sets of 5. Just make sure, as I've been saying, that every single rep, every single jump is as high as you possibly can. If you're jumping with super heavy weight and you start to get fatigued after 3 reps, well then you should probably stop there, do 5 sets of 3. If you have lighter weight and you can do more reps without getting fatigued, that is where you do something like 3 sets of 5, 3 sets of 8. Standing vertical jumps. I never program this exercise. It's not to say it's a bad exercise. It's in the great adaptations category. However, if I did program these, I would do 5 to 10 max jumps at the beginning of whatever week, like we'll say week 1 of your standing vertical jumps. And then week 2, we would do 7 to 12 standing vertical jumps. And then week 3, 9 to 14 standing vertical jumps. I would just add 2 jumps week by week by week. And eventually you would get to a point where you can't just keep adding more and more volume. So I would probably do these until drop off. So standing vertical jumps until you see a drop off in your performance. And to do that, you would probably need to be touching a high object. So jump up, touch the rim, jump up, touch the rim. Jump up, touch the rim. When you get to a point where you jump up and you can't touch the rim anymore, you've reached drop off, meaning a drop off in performance. Now we are doing fatigue jumping. You need to stop. Depth broad jumps. I don't program these either, but if I did, it would be 5 sets of 2 to 3 reps, or you could also do this until drop off. For single leg broad jumps, once again, you could do until drop off, but I'd do something like 5 sets of 2 to 3 reps. For high object touches, I would do the same exact thing as standing vertical jumps. Start with 5 to 10 reps of max jumps, and then just add 2 max jumps each week, and then get to a point where you're doing so much volume that you just do until drop off. You don't want to do 100 high object touches. Maybe you get to 34 high object touches, and then you can no longer touch that high object. You stop, drop off in your performance, we're done. Bounding, I like to do for 3 to 6 sets of 20 to 30 yards. And once again, very similar to power skips, I like 5 max jumps or 5 max bounds each leg. For sprints, I will normally program 3 to 6 sets of 15 to 40 yards. Actually, who am I kidding? I don't normally program 15 to 20 yards for sprints. I like you to reach top end speed on your sprints, so I'll normally program these for 3 to 6 sets of 30 to 40 yards. And then last but not least, we have dunks. I will do the same exact thing that I do for high object touches. I will program 5 to 10 max dunks, increase 2 each week, or I might say do your warm up, then jump for 10 minutes and stop. And then we'll increase to 12 minutes and stop, 14 minutes and stop, 16 minutes and stop, until we get to the point where I am programming dunk sessions until drop off, which just means you dunk and you dunk and you dunk until you feel like, all right, I'm tired, I'm not getting as high anymore, it's time for me to stop. Also in my dunk sessions, I like my athletes to practice all 4 approaches. Their right foot, single leg approach, left foot, single leg approach, right, left, 2-foot approach, and left, right, 2-foot approach. Anyways, these are the guidelines for the optimal amount of sets and reps that you should do for each plyometric exercise that was most common in these vertical jump training programs that I have reviewed. As always, if you want to take the guesswork out of it, you want me to be your coach, or you want one of my vertical jump training programs, the link will be down below in the description and the pinned comment of this video.